always nice to arrive at night and be surprised by your surroundings in the morning. We unzipped that tent to a rare desert fog and listened to the sweet tune of a jetboil working its magic. We were treated to another rare sight as we glimpsed what I understand to be an orgographic föhn wall breaking over the desert mesa. The föhn wall occurs when a steep leeward boundary of cumuliform clouds that form on the peaks and upper windward side of the mountains appear as a vertical wall, while the wind descends to warmer, drier air. We made it into the park and we were overwhelmed by the literal superbloom of wild Texas Bluebonnets. The park rangers told us it was one of the greatest blooms in several decades, and it's quite evident why. We were so taken aback by the flowers that we stopped and took pictures, though unbeknownst to us, the real oceans of bluebonnets lay in store a few hills away. While we'd be soon backpacking up into those Chisos mountains, our first order of business upon entering the national park was to go to Mexico. On the southern end of the park, there's a bona fide border crossing into the sleepy town of Boquillas, Mexico, where one can employ any means desirable to cross the international river. It's quite a sight, as enterprising Mexicans have established a fine ferry service to deliver you from one side to the other, if you don't want to get wet. We were also able to witness what appears to be Harvard engineering students, judging by the gentleman's hat, proving a hypothesis on means to delivering wood across the river. This is actually pretty cool to see this, and it just goes to show you what a stock Ford F-150 can do. Speaking of which, a shout out to the one and only Henry Ford. You know, maybe folks in Boquillas have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Make
Right here.
Ready? Here.
Now, if you don't want to pay the $5 to get in the rowboat, you actually, and I highly recommend this as well, can just walk across the Rio Grande right into Mexico. Maybe the coolest international border crossing I've been at during my travels.
Hola.
And they're right there to
¿Cómo
greet you.
estás?
Now, knowing we had miles of hiking ahead of us, we thought Sami might be able to rest on the way into town, so we chartered this donkey from one of Boquillas' budding young entrepreneurs. I decided to stroll alongside. Once famous mining town, which ceased operations in 1919, shortly following World War I, was largely a popular getaway for Texas gringos, country western artists, and all sorts of nefarious creatures who'd all gather here at Jose Falcons for an ice-cold margarita looking back over across the Rio Grande. We enjoyed the view as well, and also took in some of the tunes.
It was like
After exploring the town, we opted to both walk back, and we made our way back towards America. The United States of America, that is. The mountains were calling, and we had to go.
Not quite. Right over there by the rocks.
About 37 million years ago, scientists speculate that the Chisos were formed as a result of volcanic activity jutting the jagged rocks upward to the heavens, forming the southernmost mountain range in the United States of America. Others say they were crafted by God. We were headed straight up to camp in the shadow of Emery Peak at the beautiful Colima 2 backcountry site. And it was bear season. The lichen on the rock is equally fascinating as the birds in the trees. It's worth noting that this area requires a special permit that you must receive in person, in which you will reserve designated sites, which are first come, first serve. Chisos are renowned for the beautiful colors and the bountiful wildlife, and the South Rim Trail immediately proved to live up to its mighty reputation as what many consider to be the most beautiful mountains in the great state of Texas.
Yeah.
As we ascended, we kept our eyes peeled for a trailing buck or a flaring ray. As we entered the tree line, we came across the captivating Ursus americanus, the black bear, native to these here parts. Marvelous creatures, but with no mama bear in sight, we followed the law of nature and kept moving. We were already planning another nighttime insert, so we wanted to make the best use of the twilight hours and enjoy those unique views of the sun splashing its rays across the wondrous rocks of the Chisos. That wonderful evening lighting also means night movements, so be sure you've checked your map for catching terrain features to help guide you once the lights go off. Fortunately, the South Rim Trail is a well-marked trail with ample, clear signage. Sky glowed with a welcoming, serene hue that really made the mountains come alive as we approached the landmark icon of the aptly named Boot Canyon. We pushed from Boot Canyon about another mile to arrive at Colima 2.
What does it say? Oh, yeah.
Mr. Rabbit showed us around before we enjoyed our dinner under the stars and quickly racked out. We're headed into the Santa Elena Canyon next,